I hope you're doing well. If you're listening in on this Sunday, I hope you're enjoying your Sunday, enjoying your weekend. And we always encourage you that you can listen to this show whenever you want. It could be the middle of the night, and you're getting out to get a drink of water. You think, I want to listen to the Pet Show. Go to kxic.com and just click the podcast page and sit down and listen to the Pet Show at 2 o'clock in the morning. You can do that with the power of technology. It's the PAWSitively Petland Show, and it's our podcast page. And I love on-demand listening. You and I, Ron, over especially the last 2 years, I think we've been talking a lot more about podcasts that we both listen to. I'm a sports guy. I listen to mine, when I'm doing different things, multitasking. And I know you've got a couple that you like to listen to. And so our hope is to get people listening to this show. If they're fans of the show and they maybe missed that Thursday morning thing that we used to do, or whatever the reason is, they can listen when they want to, right?
Yeah, it's if you haven't tried podcasts, no matter what your age, I am definitely not the young puppy that is doing this because I grew up learning about it. I was one of those people that if you're in a car and you're frustrated with not being able to listen to the shows you want because you travel from area to area and all that kind of stuff, that's where I found podcasts to be incredibly good, to the point where I now, like for this show, hey, I'm sitting in a church pew when this show is airing. And I kind of chuckle to myself when I'm in there, going like, "Oh, I'm on the air right now." Yeah. And so I would have to listen to the podcast in this way
because you're in church at the time, huh?
Right?
And I'm on my way to church. We go to 10 o'clock usually, so I'm able to listen on my way to church. So.
Yeah,
but it is fun.
You just download them. You can even.
I was pulling this up. I've got my grid of some of the ones I listen to, and then there's the Petland little square with your logo and the cute puppy and kitten, and it feeds in. So every week, I've got last week's on there, and it loads
automatically loads up. Mine's a little bit more manual because I need to buy something or whatever. I have a Droid system. I didn't buy the app, so I actually don't like them to automatically load because I overloaded my phone because I listen to so many different ones. But I love stories. I love it when it's a story about this or that and very topical and all that kind of stuff. And then there's some just very specific newscasts that I want to listen to, and so I just subscribe to that one section of that one newscast and get the detail that I'm looking for. So it's a really convenient way of doing it.
It is great. It's a new wave. There's no doubt as we continue to evolve the way we listen and absorb media, whether it's radio, TV, any type of media. Newspapers have changed tremendously over the years. Along with it comes these new things, and there are advantages. And one of them is if you miss that show that's on at your favorite time. I mean, TV viewers already know this. I don't even know if I could tell you the time that my favorite shows air, because my wife and we have our favorite shows, and when it's time to sit down, we finally things have settled down. Jack's, everything's cool. We're ready to go. It's like, all right, do you want to watch this one or this one? We saved them both, and I don't even know if I could tell you because she just tapes them and she puts them on the DVR.
This is just like a DVR.
Yeah.
In that I even for ours, I have that DVR through my computer. Windows does it for you automatically if you connect your cable into your computer, and it's almost it's a surprise. And I kind of go down to the computer. Oh, what do I got recorded? Oh yeah, that's so cool. And listen to it. You program it to do it. All these type of shows. I'm a passionate motocross racer from the past. I don't race anymore, and I have keywords in there. So whenever a show comes on that has motocross in it, it records it. And so I get gems every now and then. Skiing is my other passion.
Nice.
Oh, there's some incredible videos that came out for that. So it's the same thing on podcasts.
Love it. Well, and certainly you don't want to be listening to this while your priest or pastor's up at the at the altar or speaking. You don't want to have the earbud, and that's bad etiquette. Right?
Bad etiquette. Now getting back on track. We are talking etiquette today.
That's right. A nice little tie in there that fits in perfectly because let's face it, we're all in this world together, right? And one of the things that can happen is without realizing or realizing, maybe that you're the one that your dog's driving your neighbors nuts. Things can happen with pets, and it could be driving your neighbors crazy. Your neighbors, your friends, people who are interacting with these pets as well. And there's some things you can do, and we're going to talk about that today. Pet etiquette, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, the do's and the don'ts. And, this kind of stems from a conversation we had a couple weeks ago. We were talking about a few different things, and I know barking is one of them. And I had a neighbor growing up. I've talked about in the past. They worked, and no one was home all day, but their dog barked and barked. And honestly, sometimes I would think, how could this dog continuously bark this much and not get tired, go to sleep? It would just bark and bark and bark. And, it really got to the point where it was very annoying. It wasn't just for us. It was for the other neighbors in the area. And so that's an example of someone who maybe they're heading off to work. They left their dog outside. Maybe they didn't realize that their dog was outside barking all day long. Maybe they didn't care. But that's an example of something that you should be aware of, and there's ways to address that. So we're going to talk about that. And then another one we thought of is that when you walk up, and we have a Boston Terrier in studio and a miniature pinscher as well. Mm-hmm. And they're super cute. So if someone's walking on the street with these two dogs on a leash and they look so cute, can you just walk up and just start petting them? I would guess that the majority agrees with me that you should ask the owner, say, hey, is it okay if I pet those dogs? And most of the time, people are just more than willing. Oh, yeah. And then you learn about the dog. It's a nice little conversation. But Ron, I know you're in my camp on that one too, right? You think that people should have to just ask, right?
It just dawned on me why people are so sensitive to it. They look at their pet as part of themselves. Do you go up and start talking?
Sure. Right.
If I start touching you, are you going to get a little nervous?
What are you doing? No, you're right. Yeah.
Kind of like that extension of your body type thing, and I'm sure that's the way a lot of people look.
And there's other reasons that we've talked about too, which we could bring up now. Would be maybe you don't know. Maybe that dog just had a surgery. Maybe the dog has it gets scared. It tends to bite as a reaction when someone gets close to it.
And I don't mind you petting them, but here, let me give you a caution: go slow.
Oh yeah. Or he doesn't like when you touch his tail.
Yeah.
No, I mean things like there's
hey, thanks for the tip.
Yeah, right. And so there's things that you could. And so I think that's just the polite way to do it. So pet etiquette's our topic today. It's going to be interesting to talk about with Ron. That's Ron Salzberg with Petland of Iowa City. I'm Jay Capron. Also today we're going to talk about the breed of the week, which is the Boston Terrier. And we have that here in studio, a very, very cute pup that's here. And we're going to talk about the Boston Terrier. We are also going to talk about grain-free food. What is it? Why is there a craze about it? Is it okay to feed your dog grains? We will talk about those topics and more here on the PAWSitively Petland Show. And so before we get things too far along, Ron, how are things going at the store? You staying busy?
Staying really busy. I apologize to our customers. We have been slammed so hard. Lucky's Market is a great thing. We love that store. We are beefing up our staff as fast as we can. That's a big training issue. That's not something that you can hire and get them rocking and rolling right away. It's actually an overtime process. I even apologize to my own counselors that are in the store right now. I am working them hard right now, and you can see it. It's like running a long race. When they look up, and I'm like, oh gosh, they're going so hard at it right now. Mm-hmm. So bear with us. I've got some really cool ideas that we're implementing as we speak on how to get all of you serviced a lot better within our store, even with the increased traffic that we're seeing and everything else that's going on. So
good problem to have as a business owner, Ron.
Yeah, but you can turn away customers really quick, that's scary.
It is. So you certainly don't want to be turning away customers, but there are some people that own businesses that would just love to have that problem.
Oh, right. I'm with you.
It's good. It's good. I'm glad to hear that you're doing well and people are hearing about your store and they like what they see. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. So that's good to hear about. That's Ron Salzberg. He owns Petland of Iowa City. I'm Jay Capron, and this is the PAWSitively Petland Show. So again, going back to where I started, wherever you're listening, however you're listening, thank you very much. We appreciate it. It's the PAWSitively Petland Show airing on AM 800 KXIC in the 9 o'clock hour, Sunday mornings, or via podcast anytime you wish at kxic.com. So there we go. And now it's time for the amazing pet story of the week. So let's bring him in, the amazing pet story of the week. Big voice guy, come on in.
It's time for the amazing.
He's still wearing his Uncle Sam outfit.
I thought that was what he.
It looks a lot more ragged.
Oh my God! You almost can't tell that it's.
Is that puke on your beard?
Oh, that is gross.
Oh.
Go take a shower.
Party a little too hard.
Stinks.
Get out of here. Oh, big voice guy. Get out of here. Come on.
That guy needs to get a life sometimes.
It's one thing to celebrate the 4th of July. It's July. It's a week after 4th of July. Come on, man. But thanks for the big voice. We need that to get to this segment. Today we're going to talk about Zoe. Zoe, living proof that smaller dogs display an attitude what they don't have in size. How many of you listening right now have those sassy little dogs that are the rulers of the house?
Susie, the trouble child at my house.
The little dog with a big, big attitude. That's what Zoe is. The 5-pound Chihuahua in Colorado made headlines for rescuing a 1-year-old child from an approaching rattlesnake. Oh, another snake. This snake was getting too close for comfort. Zoe sustained a small wound above her eye. She did eventually recover, and the snake they ended up getting the snake out of there, and the little tiny 1-year-old was saved thanks to the little 5-pound Chihuahua, Zoe. So there you go. My cat's name is Zoe. Not so brave. She probably would take a look at that snake and then roll over and stretch. And then,
no, cats. Oh gosh, there's something about snakes and cats. They play with them. I mean,
actually, she is out of the two of them. She's the one who was born outside, and she does have that natural.
Like a
she's always following the chipmunks and the squirrels and the birds.
Chipmunk.
She hates the noises they make, and she's all about that. So she probably would go after it. But anyway, Zoe, the little Chihuahua, the hero, and the amazing pet story of the week. It is time for our first break, and when we come back, we'll have the second half of the show. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the Boston Terrier, pet etiquette, and grain-free food. Is it okay that dogs are eating grains, or do you have to go grain-free? Ron will discuss. We will discuss. I'm really looking forward to talking pet etiquette coming up next on KXIC. As we go to break, Ron, tell us about your store.
We're Petland of Iowa City. Come in and play. That's what we're all about, is just getting you exposed to the pets so that you understand, and we're educating while we're doing it. What is a puppy right for you? Is a kitten right for you? Is a hamster? Is a little rabbit or guinea pig? Or are you this scaly type person and you like those reptiles or fish? Personally, that's my passion and favorite. I love fish. Bigger aquarium, the better. And just peering into that, I am one of those, get a glass of wine, go sit in front of the aquarium. That is what I love to do every night. So whatever your passion is, come on in. And if it's introducing your children, we help with that. And we show you how to introduce it. It was funny. Yesterday, I had a child that was crying in the store, which is not unusual because when you take the puppies away from them, they start crying. I totally misinterpreted the situation. I thought she was fearful of the puppy. We get that as well.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, and I just jumped in. Okay, what you got to do, and I had counselors right there already. And you got to introduce it. Mom, you take hold of the puppy and let her come up to you. And I think it was the mom that said, hold on, that's not the problem. And I went, oh, what? And she said, we're walking out without a puppy, and that is not right for her. And I went, oh, I get it now. I got to back out. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, you tried to address the situation.
Yeah, but as usual, when you assume things.
You make a what?
I don't know.
We'll be right back with more after this. AM 800 KXIC. It's the PAWSitively Petland Show. All right. And right back into it. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. It's the PAWSitively Petland Show, AM 800 KXIC. I'm Jay Capron, KXIC morning host here, and we're getting you up, getting you going. And we hope you enjoy the show. We're talking pets, as we always do with Ron Salzrud from Petland of Iowa City. And we're talking about pet etiquette today. We'll get right into that topic here. We did have the amazing pet story of the week, a little Chihuahua saving a 1-year-old from a rattlesnake in Colorado. And we're also going to talk about the Boston Terrier, which is the breed of the week. Also, we have coming up here the topic of grain-free food. So lots to get to. Let's go. Let's do the breed of the week. And every week we feature one breed, and this week it is this beautiful Boston Terrier we have in studio. One blue eye, one brown eye. So that's unique in itself, and it has that nice shiny black and white coat with those big googly eyes. One of my favorite breeds, the Boston Terrier, is our breed of the week. Tell us about the Boston Terrier, Ron.
The Boston Terrier is known as the all-American dog, and I share in that. I got a wonderful story, if you ever have time to talk when you're in the store, about a Boston Terrier named Frank Johnson. You know what? The owner of Frank Johnson is out there somewhere. I'd love to meet you.
How funny would that be?
Yeah.
If they know who they're talking about.
It was a story that we didn't get to meet the owner, but we met Frank Johnson because he was playing football with kids, all sorts of things. One of the kids, after a while, threw sand at the dog. And all of us parents were like, whose kid is that? Get him out of there now. And then all of a sudden this guy off to the side, Frank Johnson, you get over here right now. And I'm like, parents, yeah, you get that child, you reprimand that child, don't you throw sand at dogs. The dog ran over there. And we're like, what's this all about?
The dog's Frank Johnson?
The dog was Frank Johnson. Jumped onto his shoulder. He turned around. This is a beach with boats and stuff. Got onto his boat and motored away. And we all of us parents were looking at each other going, that was kind of strange, but kind of cool at the same time, right there.
I think the fact he just ran and jumped up on his owner's shoulder.
The shoulder, right. How often do you see that? Although there was a dachshund on somebody's shoulder in our store this week, and I walked up, ma'am, you have a dog on your shoulder, just want to let you know. And she goes, yeah, that's where he goes. I don't know what this is all about. she was tolerating it. It was funny.
So, the parrot.
So the Boston is truly the all-American dog. It was a breeder out of Boston. The importer was known as Hooper's Judge. The imported dog known as Hooper's Judge was the one that developed it back in the 1870s. Can you believe this? This dog was a fighting dog. I don't get that.
No,
I don't see how this thing's got a bad bone in its body. It's got a playful bone, that's for sure. But obviously through training, and so we know as people we can do the right thing or the wrong thing on that training thing. So let's do the right thing. The Boston is a wonderful family dog. What do you think the cross is? So I always bring this up because I think it's important for people to all understand. Purebreds were once mixed breeds. They bred two dogs to each other. What do you think the two dogs are in a Boston Terrier?
It's gotta be the pug?
No. Well, you're in the right class of
with the eyes.
Family.
That's what I'm thinking.
Go larger.
Boxer.
Go shorter legged.
In between.
Shorter legged. It's one of the most popular dogs. English Bulldog. Yes, the English Bulldog mixed with the white English Terrier.
It's not as round as the English Bulldog.
Right, and that's where the English Terrier is a long, lankier little thing, and that made it all proportional.
The plumpness of the English Bulldog.
Also, I know that the Boston Terrier is related to the Frenchie as well, but I think through the same kind of ties.
Yeah.
So, and you can see those. You can see that similarities, but both of them were mixes back then. So the temperament is dapper appearance, characteristically gentle disposition. I mean, everything about it, just screams American and noble and proper and all that kind of stuff. It's still a dog. It still likes to jump around and have fun. It is a muscly little thing, so this thing's got some energy in it for sure. They average somewhere in that 15-pound range to 20-pound range, so kind of a smaller dog. So it's a lot of energy packed into a little body there. It is I would say it gets close to that medium-sized type breed, but on the smaller end. So apartment dweller, hey, you're fine with this guy. It's going to get a lot of its energy out in the house, but you're going to see, here we saw it in the studio, they're sacked out right now. Both the puppies, both the miniature pincher, which is a doll, and the Boston, which is also a doll.
By the way, I should mention when we did this show, it was when the sales staff was having a meeting here, and they absolutely... came in. I got to see the little miniature pincher for about a half a second, then it was gone. So into the sales meeting, and then the Boston just ran wild. You could hear him pattering
all over the place.
And now both of them
totally
sleepy.
And so, but the Boston will love going for walks and will run, and go play fetch. It'll be a smaller ball because of the jaw structure of a Boston Terrier, but a lot of energy there. It thrives in moderate climates. It is a shorter hair dog. It's a shedding dog. So now it is I keep on going. It's in that small, medium size. You might see a little bit of this shedding, but it's still small enough where you don't see a lot unless you have a very white apartment or house. If it's black fur, you're going to see that a little bit on the couches and stuff. But I always relate that with our dachshund, who's 13 pounds. It's a red dachshund, and you don't see the shed in our house until you give her a bath. You wouldn't even think she's a shedding dog, but all short-haired dogs are shedding dogs. That's how they remove their hair. The longer-haired dogs tend to be the less or no shedding dogs, kind of like how we are with our hair. We got to go get haircuts. So moderate exercise, loves vigorous play, pretty easy care on the grooming side of thing, occasional brushing and bathing when they get into some stuff, and that's about it. I mean, it's just a wonderful little dog. So that's
a good
Boston Terrier in a nutshell. We always review these. Is this the right breed for you? Is the way we always pose the question. And so that's for you to decide. Come on in, play. I hope I still have the Boston Terrier. This guy is a beauty. Yeah. And so
those two colored eyes are definitely a really cool thing. It's unique, you know.
And the litter mate, literally the moment I walked in the store, somebody saw it, said that's mine, and that was the litter mate was gone. And so this little one, and they were both beautiful. There's not a hint of this one I get for myself. It's so beautiful.
I actually mentioned the collar.
The fancy collar.
Yeah, what that means.
So this is a black and white Boston with a little brindling in the black hind area. So to me, that adds some really beautiful character to it. When you have like boxers and Bostons and some other breeds, English bulldogs would fall into this. Is you're looking for what's called a fancy collar. If you want something really special,
it's fancy.
It's a fancy collar.
Fancy collar.
It is when it's white with black spots. So that's kind of the pattern. If that white goes around their entire neck without being interrupted, that's called a fancy collar.
And that's considered sought after.
That's a trait that you're looking for. In the breeders' world, that's one thing that they're looking for. And so this one has actually a very nice, even fancy collar. Sometimes it gets a little wiggly and all that as it goes around the neck. This one's a nice, solid, white, fairly even band that goes right around the entire neck.
That's interesting, too, just to hear what breeders, these people who are so passionate looking for certain types of dogs, that they're looking that, when that puppy comes out and it's this little and they're like thinking, wow, it's got that great collar. They're looking for those types of things. That's interesting.
Current day, in the last, 60 years or so, during AKC's heyday and all that kind of stuff, a lot of dogs that we got, and they were all AKC, which is a sought after trade and as well and all that. And I just had my AKC inspection yesterday. AKC came into my store. We're the only AKC inspected and approved store in the state of Iowa. And came in, and it's an interesting, AKC is an interesting trait and what they do. I love what they do, but the breeders are breeding to get the best of the best of the best. And us as consumers, I have an AKC. Well, I know you didn't get the best of the best, the show breed, because that's what the breeder was breeding for. Right, and then they say this is the show dog. But most of us, hey, I know I don't care. I love the dog I have.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't care if it had a fancy collar or not, because I wouldn't even know what it is until you told me. So,
you're going to pay tens of thousands of dollars for that best of the best of the best kind of a thing that you can show.
To have a show dog.
Right. And so that's what the AKC breeders and a lot of there's other registries are doing as well.
Interesting. That's Ron Salzer with Petland of Iowa City. That's the Boston Terrier, and now on to pet etiquette. And so I've thrown out two examples. I think we did a good job of just talking about the one that's pretty easy. The other one about barking is a little bit more complicated, but the easy one is just ask if you're going to pet someone's dog. I think that's just good advice for everybody out there, is that if you come across someone, whether it's at an event or just walking around downtown or throughout, your neighborhood, if you come up and there's a dog and either you or your boy or girl, your child says, can I pet that dog? The first thing, in my opinion, my advice is to tell your child that, yes, but if they let you. So go ahead and ask them if they could. And most 99% of people I've ever come across have said, oh, sure, yeah, I'd love to. And then you get to know a little bit about the dog, the name and stuff. But I think that's just good, solid advice because you just don't know the history of the dog. You don't know what the owner thinks about you approaching that dog. And as Ron said, it's kind of like an extension of yourself. You wouldn't want someone coming up and touching your back if you don't know who they are. And, it's the same type of thing. So that's good advice, I think, for pet etiquette is just ask before you touch or pet someone else's dog. So that's one thing I want to talk about. And then here's another simple one. And I know I'm sound like I'm on my soapbox.
Dominating the show. You're going to let me in?
I know. I'm on my soapbox, and I'm just going to get one more out there because it always has driven me nuts.
This isn't a passionate topic of yours, is it?
Up the poop. Pick up the poop. When you're especially when you're at a public place, pick up the damn poop.
Can't get a word
Just
in
do it.
Here.
Especially if you're going through a residential neighborhood in someone's yard. I've seen it happen before. It drives me nuts when I walk out in my yard and there's a piece of poop out there because I think to myself, the dog. I mean, maybe it happened from a wild stray dog, but most likely it's an owner walking by and doesn't decide to bring the bag with. So pick up the damn poop. That's my soapbox.
Hey, passion fans.
Sorry. It's not that hard. Bend over, pick it up, and then bring a bag and throw it in the trash.
And here's some added incentives for the dog owners is realizes that poop oftentimes or can have parasites and other things that are in that dog. And then as a child comes up and unknowingly, whether it steps in it, falls in it, plays with it, whatever, if it's a real young child, that child now is susceptible to those parasites and things. And so, there's a big safety aspect on that.
Plus, it gives a bad look to other dog owners, too. Is that people who
there you go, just reputation alone,
right? People who are on the fence, because, as much as there are a lot of dog owners, there's a percentage of people that aren't dog owners, and maybe some of them have perceptions about dog owners. And if you see someone walk by and then their dog poops, they pick it right up. That's the way you want to be thought of as a dog owner, not someone who just leaves it there for the next person.
Hey, you want to go over the top on this? Bring wipes with you. So if it does get on something, you can wipe it off.
I've never heard of that.
Let's take it to another level. Bring water with you so that if it's on concrete or something that people are trafficking in the area, now you can wash it down so that it's not.
That's a bit much. I mean, that's more than I
You want to take it to another level? Hey, if they're urinating, go take them to the curb instead of if it's on grass, go for it.
Yeah.
But take them to the curb if you're in the city, Iowa City downtown, Ped Mall. Take them to the curb and let them do it there. It's going to get washed away just with normal rain and all that. Now I'm not stepping all over it, tracking it in and out and all that kind of stuff. So I take you and raise you 3.
I like it. Hey, that's a good way to go. Take it to that extreme. If you have I guess you can have. Do you have those types of things? Do you have wipes or do you?
Oh, we got doggy wipes and water. Wipes? You can get that in bottles anywhere. Yeah. And so we do have some really cool devices for bringing water with you. So they're devices that will. Open up and it becomes an automatic bowl with an automatic water feeder, right? And you can it's no more heavy than a water bottle hanging on your belt kind of thing, or around your wrist or in your hand. We have collapsible bowls those things they're real flat, and then you with your thumbs just push them out, and you can take some of your water that you have for yourself, pour it in the bowl, and they can just lap it right up. It has a little ring on it that you can, again, hook it to something so you're not having to carry the bowl. So there's a lot of devices we have that are real convenient for people.
And then another one that I wanted to get to. Another thing, people. Leaving your dogs in the car. I don't know if that's etiquette or if that's just safety.
It's a safety thing. Yeah, I didn't even address that in my talk. Can I take over right now?
Please do. But I just want to remind everyone, and because I just heard a story on when they just said,
where was
a little child? No,
you're talking child.
No, and a child died in the car from being they forgot it, and it reminded me.
Forgot the child?
Yeah, I know, and it sounds horrible, and I would never do. I can't imagine ever doing that, but I know that it does happen every summer. We hear about it. So just dogs and pets, it's safer to just not leave them in the car.
My goodness. That's you just brought me down.
Sorry,
on that one.
Yeah, it's a serious thing.
Let's raise this back up in emotion.
All right.
We don't need that. Teach basic commands to your dog. So when you are out and about and things are getting a little wily, you can say, sit. And that's a troubled child, Susie of mine. She knows the word sit really, really well. And so when things are getting wild in the house or something and I need to take control or outside of the house, I go, Susie, sit.
Will she do it too?
She will sit. She knows when she's in trouble, though.
She puts her head down.
Right, but if she's doing something wrong, she does a little bit of avoidance there. But she knows if we're just walking around and she's just having fun, and I sense something going on, a car coming, Susie, she like a fast motion little butt action, that goes down. That's why. So as far as etiquette goes, when you're in a crowd or something and you see something coming or whatever, Susie, sit, or what your name of your dog and all that. So sit, come, stay are really, really good commands to have your dog practice, not only in the house, but put a little flavor into this, add another obstacle, bring them outside, try it, then have run around, and then you work on the sit command. So that the dog understands under all these different situations, I still need to sit or come or whatever it is. Okay. So teach basic commands. You really hit that pee and poo thing really hard. And that, everything's talked about in there. Use a leash is a big etiquette, so that I know I have been attacked by a dog that was not on a leash. I was mountain biking in an area. I was friendly with mountain bikers, people with dogs walking and all that kind of stuff. And I was with a buddy and I was showing him how to mountain bike. We were having a great time. And then a dog comes running around on the path. Mm-hmm. And I go, wait, hold on. I don't see the owners. I go, let's just get off our bikes and put the dog between us, our bikes in between us and the dog. Sure enough, the dog came up, bit my friend. Oh, no. And it was a nasty situation. The owners laughed.
Oh my goodness!
I'll talk about etiquette. Talk about somebody that didn't have a dog. What is it? What are they thinking now? I don't want a dog. Dogs bite. This etiquette helps us as dog owners across all sorts of lines, because people now know if they think of us as disrespectful and I don't care what you think, my dog is the first thing in this world, kind of a thing. Well, then that's what they're going to see, and they're going to say, well, I don't like dog owners too, and we don't want that to happen. We want to all get together, kind of stuff, and work together on it. So using a leash is not only safety for the dog, but it's also for people. The dog, that dog that was running around and bit him, hey, if it came up on a road, it's going to run right across the road. Now it's a safety issue. Yeah. So
there are leash laws too, I know, for some areas.
You know what, though? I understand leash laws and all that kind of stuff, and I definitely respect the leash laws. But a lot of times the dog should be on a leash anyways. And it's so let's not make a law, make us do this or that. This is the right thing in most situations. If we're at the dog park, woo, let her go, kind of stuff. That's good stuff there. Here, I don't even have anything on etiquette at a dog park, but there's definitely my wife and daughter were at a dog park letting Susie and Callie go running around in the small dog area. Dog etiquette 101. Don't let the big dog loose in the small dog area, kind of a thing. And both of them got attacked, and they were like, our dogs are so social. They didn't even know what was going on. They're like, looking around going, this dog's got me by the back. What am I supposed to do? They're that kind of social dogs. And while Wendy and Emily were like in shock going, oh my gosh, is my dog going to live through this thing? Yeah. So, you guys know, and they're posted, dog etiquette for dog parks. Have control of your dog. If you know your dog has some social issues, pay attention. Only go there when nobody's around. Hey, socialize that dog under your supervision away from the dog park, and then really intensify it when you get to the dog park. Because if they're used to being a rebel rouser there, you've trained them away from the dog park. Remember, dogs don't necessarily translate those learned behaviors to a different area or a different situation. You need to help them along with that. So maybe you're helping with socialization at home, introducing them to a lot of people, a lot of dogs. And now when you get back to the dog park, a leash for a while might be the thing to do, so that you can control the dog and help the dog understand, all right, you got to be social here as well. No biting the other dogs and all that kind of stuff. So that's rounding out the leash is a great etiquette tool there. Hey, travel sense on this one. Hotel. If you find a hotel that allows dogs, that's called a privilege, not a right. And I know that sounds kind of harsh, but think of it this way. If you mess that up, that hotel owner is going to say, I've had it. I'm not going to do this anymore. And you ruin it for the rest of us. And so make sure you respect the hotel, that you contain the dog and not let them chew up the chair in the room, that kind of a thing that costs that hotel owner money. Oh, I'm going to get away with it. I'm just not going to say anything and walk out. Well, we all pay for that one. We know we literally pay for it, and we know that we're going to pay for it if the hotel says no to that. I think overall, as a society, I think we're getting a lot better on that. Just in town here, I'm hearing more and more landlords opening up their apartments, condos, to apartments. I mean,
that's one of the challenges if you have a dog is to find a place.
I don't blame them if they're saying no, because the dog pees and poos. We know this stuff happens, and if we're not taking care of it or ponying up the deposit, because you're right, you got to change that carpeting now because of what my dog did. Take responsibility when your dog does something. That's just etiquette by itself. Hey, how do I have people coming over to my house and my dog goes spastic over them, and it frustrates me and it frustrates the people I know. They're like being nice to me, but how do you handle that situation? Run your dog ragged before those guests come here. I have a very good friend that has 2 golden retrievers, and she runs those dogs ragged before the guests come over, so that the dogs are not all crazy and jumping and all that.
It's such a simple solution too.
Oh, it's so easy, but we don't think of it. Yeah, and so that's it's
much
really
easier, because a lot of times you think maybe we can keep them away. Like all of your approaches about how to keep the dog away, but why not just tire it out to begin with, so that way you don't have to try
a lot of the jumping up and doing all that stuff is just, I'm hyper, I got a lot of energy and I want to play. Yeah. You want to play? Kind of thing. So get the play out of the way and then go forward. You can control your dog and you, but no one else. You can influence others. And what I'm talking about here is when you do come across a situation that, hey, your dog is, doing this, and you get all angry and all that kind of stuff, really just step back from the situation. Are you really helping anything? Yeah, I'm helping him because I'm telling him like it is. No, I think you're just making a divide at that point. Let's talk to each other as pet owners, and that neighbor thing, like what we talked about earlier on barking, approach it in a positive way. Hey, you got a new puppy, that is so cool, I love puppies. I know our neighbors came up to us these puppies that we have on air and we do on TV, they come to our house at night, and our neighbors know when we bring them out, because they see me. I do this funny dance with them because they're always going after your feet, and I'm wanting them to poop and pee and wear them out a little bit. And so they always laugh at me hey, you got a couple of puppies again, can I come over and play, and then they help me out and all that's good. So it's working with your neighbors in a positive way. Keep it a positive situation. If it's a barking issue, take care of the barking issue yourself. And I mean, a lot of these things, trust me, we talk with people every single day that didn't know that they had all these options. So come and talk with us about all the different options you have if something is frustrating. Or I love asking people, how is potty training going? They always say, oh, they're going good. I go, how often is your dog pooing or peeing in the house? Oh, really, really good. Once a week, maybe at most. And I'm going, hey, we can help you on that one. And I don't think you're going to spend any money doing it. And so we can help you with training issues and all that. Same thing here, barking and all that. So realize that we can control ourselves and our dog. We can only influence others. Why don't we influence them in a positive way and be aware of the impact that we have of bringing our dogs, cats, and all that kind of stuff? I know on a cat, we talk dogs all the time. I know on a cat situation where we have owned cats, so they're not strays. We know who they are. We love the family. We actually take care of the cats and dogs while they're away, so we're this close to them, kind of a thing. They even have a beef. I probably shouldn't be talking about my neighbors because they're listening and they're going, I didn't know that.
That's all right.
But one neighbor doesn't like that the other neighbor has some big dogs. Yeah. And so there's a little bit of a rub for both of them. And they try to talk with each other. I know they are. But I know that one of our very minor rubs, neighbor, don't worry about it, is that they let their cats out. And I know that some of us feel passionate about letting our cats out and all that kind of stuff, regardless of what the city says. And I'm not saying good, bad, ugly, or anything like that. But gosh, if you were in our house when your cat comes up to our windows, you would say, maybe I shouldn't do that. Our cat that can only be in the house because of his condition hits the window so hard that we know he's going to break it one day.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how cats can really put some effort into things.
We used to have a stray that would wander around this big, it looked like, it was probably the biggest, furriest cat I've ever seen in my life. It looked like Garfield. It was a big orange cat.
Yeah.
And it was just wandering around the neighborhood. And my mom's cat at the time would just jump at the same thing. It would get so upset about it and it really bothered her that she couldn't get out to do whatever she thought, because Garfield probably would have ate our cat. But the point is that you don't realize the actions of your pet may be influencing others.
Right.
And the story you brought is like neighborhood, X in any community. So it's not uncommon that
it's everywhere.
I mean, there's levels of beefs for, I hate the fact that they let their dog out so early, right?
What I've told
wakes me up when they
the two neighbors have come to me individually, partly because Wendy and I own Petland, and we might know more than the average, and I respect that. And we, here's the only advice I got: go talk with the neighbor. Yeah. And I think you need to work it out. I don't think it's as big a deal as you think it is.
It could be a weird conversation, but at least if you both know where each other stands, it's a lot better.
So that's rounding out that. Our Pets Allowed was at an event this weekend, last 4th of July weekend, and I noticed there was very polite signs saying, hey, please keep the dogs at home during this event. There were thousands of people there. There were a lot of distractions, and I got the feeling something had happened in the past from what I read, the sign. It was very polite to pet owners to just keep your dogs home on this day because of all the fireworks and everything else that were going off. And I did see some a good amount of people snub it and walking around with their dogs. And I'm like, as pet owners, I think we should respect the wishes of others, and they didn't need to be there in this event. There was plenty of things to do, and there were plenty of things dogs can get into trouble. So I think it's important as etiquette, as pet owners, to respect the wishes of others, especially when that wasn't our property or our event or anything like that. And we have nothing to prove by just, I'm going to show you that my dog can be good, because then somebody else is going to see you do that, and they're going to bring their dog, and then there's going to be a dog fight, or it's going to tip over a display or whatever. And so now we get back into the I know better things kind of thing. So respect other people's wishes in that regard.
And we are almost out of time, but I did leave some time at the end of the show so we could talk about grain-free food. And so in a quick summary, if you could, Ron, I know you hear a lot about it. What are your thoughts on grain-free?
I just want to point out, grain-free, I think, is a good thing to have. I use grain-free in my house on one of my dogs because of an issue that she had with throwing up right before she ate. It was kind of an odd, isn't it odd? Actually, a lot of people have it. Huh? Yeah. And so I just found Nutro grain-free products by Natural Choice worked really well and stopped it. It stopped my dog from doing it, and it stopped 3 other dogs from doing the same exact pattern. So if your dog does that, Nutro grain-free, it's called Natural Choice. What I just wanted to bring out is there is no scientific evidence that says dogs can't eat grain. In fact, there is scientific evidence that says they do eat grain. In fact, you can see them eat grain when they eat even like everybody says they're carnivores. When they're eating that meat, they go after the gut first. They're eating grains in that gut. We know they eat grains. So I've heard, it's great for allergies. Well, the top allergens by the veterinarians out there are beef, chicken, milk, eggs, corn, wheat, soy. The only grain I heard in there was wheat. So the other ones were the protein sources. There can be some allergy issues with other grains, but usually that's not the problem. It's something else. So kind of debunking that whole allergy kind of a thing aspect of it. I heard that grains, dogs don't have enzymes in their saliva like we do that start converting those carbs to sugars and all that kind of stuff. Well, they do have enzymes. It's lower in their gut when those enzymes are introduced. They are different from us in that way. but they have the enzyme needed to do it. So I know a lot of you out there have done your research. I've done a lot of research on all of this kind of stuff and find, when somebody says something, I want to go research it. And I talked to Dr. Ebert from Gentle Heart Pet Clinic, and I say, what is the evidence there? And she shares a lot of this information as well. So the enzyme was a interesting topic, because I just heard that recently. Somebody's talking about enzymes in our mouths and dogs don't have it. Yes, they do. They have it lower in their gut. And then finally, I want to talk about carbs. There's this, everybody goes, well, they're not designed to do carbs. Well, remember, these grain-free products still have carbs in them. They're just changing them to potatoes, sweet potatoes, and other things. So it's not a carb issue. And carbs, by the way, are still in those grain-free formulas. So let's not get too confused on those. My overall feel for grain-free is if you're feeding it and you're seeing something good coming out of your dog, go for it. Keep on going. If you're considering grain-free because you see an issue of some kind, that might be the case. Do a trial and see if it works. But you don't have to go to grain-free for the sake of grain-free. There is no scientific evidence that says, grain is wrong. Grains are fine.
It's kind of like when, and we talk about this a lot, is that how something will happen. There'll be a change in trends, and then it kind of goes way the other way, right?
Right.
And that's kind of
what started all this was grains in products of the cheap foods that are out there. And the answer is the grains that we're talking about in the cheap foods is the undigestible portions of the grains. It's the hull, the husks, the things that we can't even digest and just passes through us. That's where it all started from. And then we went into we're humans, we love to do this. Get rid of all the grains. Right. Kind of thing. Well, let's don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's look at it and go, what is good for us? And grains are good for our dogs and are appropriate, and they're designed to digest them, but all in moderation, and quality matters, like everything.
That is Ron Sulzer with Petland of Iowa City, and we are out of time. But what a good show it was. A lot of fun today. We talked about pet etiquette. We talked about, going all the way back, we talked about a 5-pound Chihuahua that saved a little 1-year-old boy from a rattlesnake in Colorado. Zoe, the Chihuahua, the amazing pet story of the week. We talked about the boxer, I almost said, the Boston Terrier, who is sound asleep right now, by the way. Totally enjoying its time. A multicolored eye. It has one blue eye, so 2 colored eyes, one brown and one blue.
And a fancy color.
And a fancy color. A very fancy color. And then we also talked about pet etiquette, and just round out with grain-free food. We are out of time for the show. It's been a blast. And Ron, we thank you. And any way you're listening, whether it's right now as we round out the hour or through our podcast page at kxic.com, thank you for tuning in. Ron, you could say goodbye by telling us about your store, okay?
We're Petland of Iowa City. Today, Sunday, we open at noon, close at 6. All other days, we're open at 10 a.m. and then close at 9 p.m. People come in for our $5 nail trims on your furry friends and feathered friends. We have a little bit more money on those, but not much, and we'll take care of those as well. Wing trims and all that kind of stuff. We have buy 10, get 1 free on all of our cat and dog food, and you will find very competitive pricing in our store. So take advantage of that. We track it for you so you don't have to cut or store or save anything. So buy 10, get 1 free on all of our cat and dog food, and then come in and play. We're all about introducing people to pets and showing this is what they're all about, and is it the right pet for you, and going through some education. We care about our pets before they get to us. How were they born? How are their parents taken care of? This includes our fish. This includes our hamsters and bunnies. It includes our puppies, our kittens. All of our kittens are from unplanned litters from the community. If you don't know that right now, they're from our community. We get them checked out by our veterinarian, Dr. Ebert, and then we bring them in, and you now have this beautiful kitten, and we have kittens in our store right now. So a little bit about what we are.
Petland of Iowa City. That's Ron Sulzer. A quick challenge for everybody out there. I want everyone listening right now to think about their pet. Ready? Think about it, whether it's a dog or your cat. Doesn't need a toy or a treat, right? Think about it, right?
I didn't know where he was going.
Think about it.
I like it.
It deserves it. Woo! Little boy or girl, it deserves it. Bye.
Sox are in fight out all the way there.